out of this situation. Although, these solutions are not necessarily in the best interest of citizens and their personal freedom. It isn't without reason that the World Economic Forum's initiative is called the Great Reset, the name that inspired this documentary. Part of their plan is the creation of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. This would allow central banks to have a new monetary system that they can detach from the current one, allowing people to transition into this new debt-free system and slowly deleveraging and dropping the debt from the previous one without adding risk to their currencies.
So central bank digital currency is coming alive. It's not going to happen today. I think they have a 12-month experimental period that they want to go through before they actually launch for good.
The status of it is we're working hard on it right now. But let me tell you what it is really. We're going to address digital payments broadly. So that means stable coins, it means crypto assets, it means a CBDC. That whole group of issues and payment mechanisms which we think are really at a critical point.
Would you say that the corona crisis has even revealed more the need to have a digital central bank currency or currencies?
Well, yes, I think the corona crisis has accelerated very much technical change and use of digital innovations across the board. I mean, it's not only in financial transactions, but in e-commerce and show business. I mean, there are so many examples that you know. But yes, it is a factor. Pretty much all central banks are thinking about this.
In the last few weeks of 2020, the People's Bank of China rolled out a pilot program in the eastern Chinese city of Suzhou. They had to download an app and have it on the phone. In a macro way, you have a sense of how money flows through the economy. On a micro scale, and this is something that many in the West would probably not be comfortable with, and many in China, frankly, would not be comfortable with, is that it would allow authorities to be able to track precisely how you or my neighbor or the person down the street is spending the money. Are they spending the money on buying things they shouldn't be buying, however you define that? Are they gambling with their money? Are they doing this or that with their money? They say it's just to replace physical cash, but of course, this could just be the first step.
Adoption will come for these CBDCs. In fact, it will be forced adoption. The government will start supporting citizens in need by only giving them stimulus payments through a wallet controlled directly by the central bank. The central bank will essentially be able to eliminate commercial banks that are currently the middleman between the central bank and the citizens. For governments, it will simplify many things. If they decide to change interest rates, they will be able to act on it directly, rather than wait the several months needed for commercial banks to implement this in their systems. They will also be able to control directly the interest rates based on a person's profile or a business's profile, and will be able to set expiry dates on people's money, forcing them to spend and not allowing them to save. Raoul Paul describes this well.
You see, central banks want to be able to give people money directly, direct monetization. They can't do that right now. Right now, they print money, it goes into the banking system, the banks hoard it because we're going through a credit crunch. It's also a way for them to kickstart universal basic income because the central bank can underpin the poorer parts of society by giving them money directly. It doesn't go on the government balance sheet. Now, central banks now believe they're omnipotent, that they can continue to expand balance sheets forever. MMT seems to be the prevalent thought, and this is just an extension of this. This is kind of Keynesianism gone mad. Central banks can also change entirely the structure of how money and monetary policy works, and fiscal policy, because they can give it to different people in different ways. So they can credit the restaurateur, but then penalize with negative interest rates the baby boomer saver because they want to release their money back into the economy. They can give students a positive interest rates to help them save. They can change everything. This is the rise of behavioral economics and incentive systems. So Governments essentially using big data can find who they need to stimulate at any time and adjust accordingly. They can do it dynamically. This is a structural, massive shift to everything we understand about economics, particularly macroeconomics. Nobody's prepared for this. None of us know what this means. It means, and it will be sold on, a load of good things. And I think there's a lot of good things that come from this. I think it is an elegant solution to some of our problems. But elegant solutions in governments and central banks lead to unintended consequences. The issue is to have this new system, you're going to give up your freedom. You are going to have every transaction you've ever done and ever will do recorded. There is no cash. There is no way of tipping the gardener unless it goes by cash. It means that they can tax you at every transaction level. Now that's great. We could get rid of the IRS and all of the tax collection agencies because it could be done directly. That's good. But again, you've lost your freedom to transact in anonymity that cash gives you.
These central bank digital currencies, as I said, they're not an invention from governments and central banks. In fact, they're inspired by other digital currencies like Bitcoin being the original one and other altcoins that have been created after that. In reality, they're more similar to other altcoins such as Ethereum or others that simply allow the addition of programming that allows you to add functionalities to them. Whereas Bitcoin is only there for these monetary transfers. Bitcoin is a payment network, right? Where there's think of it as a log of transactions, a transaction that I can do to you. The Bitcoin network will take some information, so my address, your address, the amount of Bitcoin that I'm sending to you, and with this information, it's gonna create a hash. It just goes through a simple hashing algorithm that makes a code out of this information, and this is added to this log. Whatever amounts that happen within these 10 minutes, basically is considered a block, and there will be miners, so computers that are connected to the network to verify these transactions. So they're just gonna be there ready to confirm that I do have this Bitcoin, and yes, I can send it to you, and that after that, I no longer have this Bitcoin, and you have the Bitcoin. So very simple kind of work. But all of these computers are connected to the network, and they're in competition, fighting for who confirms the block. Because whoever confirms the block and verifies these transactions will be rewarded in Bitcoin from two sources. There'll be a transaction cost. Simply, if I send you Bitcoin, then I pay a certain fee to the network. This fee will be redistributed to miners. And also, right now, there is an emission of new Bitcoin. So today, it's at 6.25 Bitcoins per block. And if I, as a miner, am able to confirm this block, I will receive 6.25 Bitcoin. It won't happen every time because there's a big competition of miners. 6.25 Bitcoin per block every 10 minutes. That's quite a bit, especially if you think of the price of Bitcoin today. Bitcoin is built in a way, there's an entire incentive scheme that has been thought out by